Yes, I think we are still 2 minutes away from the 8 o'clock mark. So we'll just wait for 2 minutes and then we'll start. Yes, in the meanwhile, can you guys tell me like how many sessions have you attended so far? We have conducted 3 sessions so far. First was product sense. Second was, right. So first session was about amazing. Most of the people have done. So first session was about product sense. Second was about proof of work. And the third one was about ask me anything session. So in ask me anything session, we took almost 3.5 hours. Yes, and also we have also created and shared a repository with you for all the recorded sources and all the other details that we have to share with you. Okay. I hope everyone was able to get that repository where all the recordings and all the resources are mentioned. A quick yes or no in the chat. Hmm. So some people who have not attended any of the past session, I would also recommend you that after this session, you should also go through that particular playlist. I'm sure that even if you are a very senior product professional or if you're just getting into product management, you will find value in those sessions. Hmm. Cool. Understood. I think we are right on time. So let me go ahead and start sharing my screen. Yes. Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another session where we are going to talk in detail about how to do interview preparation as a PM. So far, we have done two formal sessions and we have done AMA session. Today, we are going to talk about interview preparation and then we are going to talk about case study competition. Understand, it is possible that some of you who are watching this video might not have watched the last two videos. These are very important. They talk about product sense, product skills. So it is my recommendation to everyone that also watch those videos once you get time. So I will put these videos either on your email or I'll also go ahead and put them in the YouTube description so everyone can go ahead and watch them. Okay. With that being said, let me go ahead and start the session for today. Today we are going to discuss about one of the very important things. Okay. One of the very important things, which is mastering the art of PM interviews. We are going to talk about mastering the art of PM interviews. Some people are confused about something. Just give me a moment. Sure. So I have shared a link to all the past content in the chat. Okay. You guys can go ahead and go through it. It contains all the information. Cool. So now let me go ahead and do this. Wonderful. So today's session is about mastering the art of PM interviews. Although I will give you some frameworks to help you articulate your thought, but personally, I am against the framework. Against the framework, as in, frameworks are good enough to go ahead and help you get the answers, build you structured thought. But I have seen many people who do not have experience around product management. When they try to learn the framework, they try to learn them very verbatim. Verbatim, as in, they are sticking to framework and then they try to retrofit every problem to that particular framework. Okay. And it is very easy for us to understand that rather than using frameworks as their car or the driver, they are using frameworks as the crutches. Okay, which is frameworks are actually limiting them. Right. So today I'm going to give you not only few key types of questions that are asked, but I'll also give you some steps or some topics or best practices so that you are able to prepare well for your product management interview and hopefully able to get your dream job. Okay. Now, this is going to be the agenda for today's call. We are going to first start with the PM job. This you already know, so I'll not focus much on it. Then we'll talk about skill set play. Then I'll talk about interview structure. Then we'll talk about the main part of the program, which is type of questions. Product sense, metrics, root cause analysis, guesstimates, strategy, behavioral, technical. All of these questions we are going to talk about today. What are the different kind of questions that can be asked and how do you answer these questions? This is going to be a power pack session, so make sure that you are not losing the focus in the session. It is going to be exactly 2 hours or 2 hours 15 minutes. I'll also give you a break in between for 5-10 minutes so that you can take a breather. But make sure that you are focusing on the session. Focus is super important. Okay. And if you want to, please do not take any notes. Just listen to the session. Don't distract yourself with the notes if you want to. Just listen to the session. The recordings is anyways available to you so that you can always go ahead and use the AI tools in order to keep a better summary and notes for yourself. Right. And then the last part is, which is, although this is only 5% part of today's session, but this should actually be 95% part of your preparation practice. Okay. In practice, I'm going to give you a list of top interview questions, a directory, and then I'm going to tell you how to effectively use AI in order to practice for yourself for the PM interview. Right? Now, with that being said, I have told you this diagram initially. I will again go ahead and give you a quick review for people who have not attended the last few sessions. So, in product management, what happens is, as a product manager, the business teams will give you some kind of strategy or some kind of goals. Goals such as increase revenue, increase the number of users, increase the engagement, or solve some particular problems for the business. Similarly, your partners, your stakeholders, your internal stakeholders, your external stakeholders are going to go ahead and give you some data or give you some kind of ideas or suggestions or problems. Similarly, you are going to do a lot of market research. You will understand the competition, you'll understand what is happening in the ecosystem, right? And after collecting data and everything, you will have a bunch of ideas or problems that you want, right? That could help you solve the problems for your customers and achieve the business goals. Now, every ideas or every problem is not worth enough to go ahead and pursue. So what you will do is you will understand and validate the ideas and do the research. Understand? The difference between idea and a problem is that idea should follow a problem, which is idea is a solution. For an idea to work, it should come and should be retraceable back to a problem. There are many people who are only thinking about solutions and idea. They don't know what is the purpose of this idea, what is the purpose of the solution. So it is your responsibility whenever you hear someone who gives you a solution, or whenever you try to give your solutions to the company, or whenever you try to build something, you always have to ask yourself, why am I doing this? What is the purpose of doing this? How will the customer get benefited? How will the business get benefited? This is a super important thing. Never forget to retrace the problem back, right? After this, once you do the validation and research, then you will do the prioritization. After prioritization, you will end up creating a product roadmap and a product backlog. Then you will break this product backlog into small parts so that your team is able to do it, which you will call it a sprint backlog. Then your development and design team is going to work on it. After that, you are going to do testing and quality assessment. Then you are going to launch and adopt with the help of your marketing team and the sales team. And then the product is going to be given to the users. And then users are going to use the product, they are going to generate data, and then data will guide your decisions. Similarly, the users are going to give you direct feedback in the form of comments, reviews, customer support requests, and so many other things. Right? So now the cycle is again going to repeat. This is what a product manager does. I've already told you this 2 times in the last 2 sessions. So today I'm not going to go into the details of the same. What you need to understand is here in yellow, I have marked multiple skills that you need as a PM in this map. Okay. You need the understanding of analytics. You need understanding of user research and market research, stakeholder management, creativity and problem solving, because that is how you are going to convert your problems into ideas and solutions. Similarly, you need prioritization skills, execution skills, tech skills, stakeholder management skills, so that you are able to work with people. Understand? In this part of the map, you are working with the customers and your people in order to generate the insight so that you can decide what to build. In this part of the map, you are working with your team in order to build the solutions and make sure that users are using it. So your creativity, your product sense, and your stakeholder management are two important skills that you need to have as a product manager. Without this, you cannot function well. Now, in an interview, people are asking you a lot of questions, not because they want to just ask questions and try to understand how you can solve the brain teasers. They are asking you questions so that they can see whether you are good enough with these skills, whether you have these skills or not. Every PM interview question that is asked in an interview, at least at the right companies which have training for their interviewers, the question has a purpose. And the purpose is related to the map that I'm showing, right? And sometimes what happens is that sometimes the business team, the goals that they give you, or the partners that they tell you, like the partners, the needs that they give you, or the users, the problem that the users are giving you are very vague. So as a product manager, you need to make sure how you are able to create clarity out of chaos. How are you able to convert this chaos into clarity, converting a vague situation into a well-defined problem state, right? That is also a part of product sales. Now, this is how. So now we have understood the skills. Let us talk about what does a typical PM interview structure looks like. Okay. So in a PM interview structure, this is what happens. First of all, the HR or the recruitment manager is going to either reach out to you or you are going to go ahead and reach out to them. In the last AMA session, I have told you about how to grab PM interviews. The three bucket approach I have told you. If you guys have not watched it, I am also going to share notes of that session. So we have answered more than 150 questions and I have created the notes on the same with AI. So I can go ahead and share it with you. Second is there can be an HR screening round where they understand about who you are, whether you fit in this role or not, what is your compensation range, so that whether they should go ahead with the interview, right? The third part is take home assignment, optional. These days, there are more roles that are asking for take home assignments than the ones who are not asking, right? The take home assignment is to make sure that these days, what is happening is that there are many people who are applying for one product role. And to make sure that they are hiring the candidates who are very serious enough and they are filtering out a lot of candidates in the initial phase only, companies have started aggressively giving these take home assignments, right? Then product sense or some combination of product sense, questions, product design, product sense, similar kind of things. Then they are going to check your technical acumen. They check technical acumen to understand whether you can collaborate with the developers or not. For some roles, such as technical product manager, you need to have hands-on understanding of software development. But in many roles, technical acumen means you should be able to connect better with developers, which is you should know at least a simple vocabulary. What vocabulary should you should know? I am going to tell you in today's session. And then they are going to ask you behavioral questions. Understand? Behavioral questions are very important as you get into senior roles. For senior roles, behavioral questions are super important. And then you are going to negotiate and then you are going to eventually get the offer. This is how the thing works. Understand? In this round, HR screening round, and also in the other rounds, a very important part is the job description or the candidate acts job fit. So, because there are so many people applying, now companies are looking for relevant candidates. So, you have to answer the question that how can I tell this company, how can I make this company believe that I am a relevant player for this company? Relevant as in you read the job description very carefully. Then you look at your career in the past. Don't look at your resume. Create a detailed Google Doc where you have written what are the things that you have done in your career. It could be 1 page, 2 page, 10 page, 20 page, whatever it is. Okay. Don't filter. Write everything on that Google Doc. Okay. You have to put your mind out. Whatever projects that you have done in college, everything, every piece of detail that you can share. You don't have to share this document with anyone. It is for your own purpose. Right. So once you create that Google Doc, then after that, you look at the job description in detail and then you see what are the things that I have done in my career, which are relevant for this particular job. And in the HR screening call, try to highlight those instances. This is a super important part. You have to make sure that you are very relevant for the company, relevant for the role and the company. Many people make a mistake that they go ahead and use a generic resume or they use a generic introduction with each and every company. Don't do that. You are losing opportunity on table if you do this, right? Everyone, on a scale of 1 to 2, sorry, on a scale of 1 to 5, tell me, were you able to understand all of these 8 steps? Yes. Cool. Interesting. Now let's go ahead and talk about a typical situation. Okay. You want to become a product manager, and then someone asks you, why do you want to become a product manager? And you say that I'm passionate, but they are not sure. How do you make them sure that you know product management? One way is if they are not even willing to talk to you, then you have to showcase your proof of work and make sure that they are able to see it somehow, which I've talked about in the last session. The second way is, which is a formal way, which has been very traditional, is in the interview, you have to showcase to them that you have all these skills. This is the purpose of the interview. In the interview, people have a methodology or a questions to find out whether you know the answers for these questions or not. If you have the answers in the right structured way, then they will understand that this guy or girl knows what they are talking about. They might be knowing about product management as a right. So this is the simple purpose of the interview. Now, what are different kind of questions that are asked? There are although 100 kind of questions that people can ask. There are thousands of questions that people can ask you, and you do not know what questions are people going to ask you. There is a saying that if it's a good day for you in the interview, the interviewer is going to ask you what is the name of your father. And if it's a bad day for you, they are going to ask you what is the name of my father. And then you are going to get stuck, right? So always remember interviews, there are thousands or 10,000 of questions that people can ask you. It is like they can ask anything from the universe. However, if you prepare really well, if you reverse engineer the past interviews that people have given for the same roles and the resources are available all across the place, you should be able to understand how can I prepare better. Okay. So we have been able to look at multiple people who have given interviews. We have gone through multiple resources. We have helped so many people crack interviews at Microsoft, Amazon, multiple FANG companies, and multiple startups. And we were able to understand that basically there are 6 kind of questions. Okay. The first question is product sense, also called as product design question, which is the major question. Sometimes all the questions are product sense questions, and all the categories, subcategories are contained in that question only. Okay. The second kind of questions is metrics questions, where people ask about what is a success metric, or they talk about how would you go ahead and uh, do a guesstimate on a particular problem statement. Then we have root cause analysis. Something has gone good, something has gone bad. How would you understand what is the root cause of the same? Similarly, there are strategic questions, there are behavioral questions, there are technical questions. Also, see people who have done MBAs, they would be able to relate that most of these questions also have an overlap with that of a consultant role. I hope the screen is good enough now, right? Cool. Why do you do this, guys? Why do you do this? Cool. Understood. Cool. Mao, Dow, churn rate. Cool. Understood. Interesting questions. Yes. So now I'll go ahead, take these questions one by one, and we'll try to understand how to answer these questions. Okay. Understand, guys? Because of the limitations of time, we might not be able to go ahead and go into the extreme details. But in the end, I'm also going to give you a roadmap so that you can go into details of all of these resources, right? So let me just go ahead. Okay. Before we could talk about the details of all the interview questions, look at this slide. This is the most important slide for today's session. Look at this carefully now. have all of your focus on the screen now. Understand, no matter what kind of interview that you are giving, PM, technical, non-technical, any kind of interview, there are four core skills as a product manager that you need to focus on. And these are the core skills that are no matter what kind of role that you are looking for, which is senior PM, PM, growth PM, business PM, or technical PM, any kind of PM. These are very, very core skills. Okay. The skills are thinking on the feet because product management is going to throw at you the problems that you might have never seen. That is why people need to understand whether you have the ability to think on the feet or you can only solve the problem that you have seen in the past. Whenever you create any substantial product, you have to solve new problems. And if you get cold feet while solving new problems, that could be an issue. Right? Now, yes. The second part is awareness of product development lifecycle. If you are giving any product management interview, you should be aware about what is the end-to-end process that a PM goes through. Even if you are not a PM, there are enough resources in the world, and you can also watch the first session of the Summer of Code, Summer of Product, in order to understand what does a PM do, which is product development lifecycle, so that you are aware what is it that you are getting yourself into. Hmm. Cool, guys. And after this, we have awareness of PDLC, and then we have pattern recognition. What is pattern recognition? Pattern recognition is you should make sure that although there are thousands of problems that are occurring to you as a product manager or that can occur, but you can always categorize these problems. You can always categorize these problems into small parts, which is, let's say you have thousands of problems, but if you go ahead and try to break down every voices problem in the world, you will understand that most of the problems are just problems which are just going to talk about the, yes, which are just going to talk about either growth of the business or the revenue growth of the business or the retention of the business or maybe the expansion into multiple geographies. So always remember that in all of these problems, you should be able to identify a lot of patterns. As a PM in an interview, people are judging whether you have the ability to identify the patterns or not. And you will see this in the product management interviews as well, which I'm going to tell you in just a moment. The last part is communication. Now, this is the foundation for any PM job. Imagine PM like a glue that connects all the stakeholders in the company along with your along with your customers to one particular goal, to one particular vision. Right? That is why you need to be extremely good with communication. And in an interview, understand no matter what kind of interviews that you are giving for, you have to go ahead and articulate yourself. Right? So articulation is a must-have skill for any product manager to have. Without this, you cannot survive into PM. And by communication and articulation, I do not mean that you should know a particular language, but you should be able to articulate yourself better and you should be able to feel confident in your skill. In the last call, when we discussed about AMA, I have also answered multiple questions around how to improve your communication. I have shared some actionable steps as well. Okay, so always remember this, these are the fundamental level skills. If you don't have these skills and you are only cramming the frameworks that I'm going to tell you in the rest of the session, you are still going to fail. However, if you forget all the frameworks that I'm telling you, but if you have these four skills, you might still be able to go ahead and crack PM interviews. Right? Everyone, on a scale of 1 to 5, if you are able to understand this. Yes. So thinking on the feet is your IQ. Pattern recognition is your experience. How do you go ahead and understand things as a systems, also called as systems thinking. Communication is how do you articulate, and awareness of PDLC means your subject matter expertise on how a product manager operates. Right. With that being said, let me go ahead and start with the first type of PM interview questions, which is product design question. In every almost 100% of the product management interviews, you are going to find questions like how would you design an airport ATM? It was asked in Stripe 2024 very recently. How would you improve LinkedIn for job seekers? Asked in Google 2024. Your favorite product and how would you improve it? Very popular questions asked in multiple companies. Recently, someone at Google asked that what are your three popular products, favorite products, and then they choose a product. Then they told them that you should go ahead and improve this. Okay. Then build a parking solution as Google Maps PM. Google has been repeatedly asking these questions. Build an app for theme park in Bay Area. Build a learning experience product for YouTube. Build an e-commerce website for camping gadgets. Right? These are the questions. These are the examples of questions that are most frequently asked. And these are called product design questions because you are trying to conceive a product. You are trying to come up with features of a product. Okay. Now, if I ask you a question, if I ask you a question, okay, before asking a question, let me give you the pattern to answer this. Then I'll ask you the question if you're understanding this or not. Okay. So in order to answer these questions, you have to follow certain steps. Not saying that you should always follow this step, you should always understand the question and the context before blindly following the framework. But most of the time, this pattern works. Okay. Sometimes it is called a steps framework. Sometimes people call it design thinking. Sometimes people also call it circles framework, but the basic is the same. The basic is whenever someone asks you a product sense or a product design question, you should first start by asking clarification questions. And always remember that clarification questions are not asked to find answers. Clarification questions are never asked to find answers. They are asked to make sure that you and the interviewer are on the same page. To fix the scope, what are you trying to do? Right? So that you can understand the context, the constraint, and what are they trying to do so that you are on the same page. A very common mistake that PMs do on their job is they don't understand the context. They just go ahead and get into execution. And by not asking clarification question, you are showing that you are the same guy who jumps to solutions and does not cool. I hope guys I'm audible now. Yes, cool. Thank you. Thank you, Akash. Thank you, everyone. I think there was some internet connection. Let me restart things again. Just give me a moment. Yes. So, yes. So, what we do is in the product sense questions, we start with, or not only in product sense, but in every kind of questions, you should first start with asking the clarification questions. And always remember, clarification questions are never asked to find the answer. They are asked to make sure that you are moving in the right direction and you and the interviewer are on the same page when it comes to the question. In a real product manager's life, a common mistake that we have seen and a very deadly mistake that we have seen is that product managers, rather than understanding the whole problem, they straight away jump to solution and execution. And then they make mistake and then they waste resources. So that is something that has to be avoided at all the cost. And that is what they check in the interview. If you are jumping to solutions, even without understanding the question well, you are bound to lose the interview. It happened in one of the interviews at Microsoft that the person told that, how would you create the world's most advanced airport? How would you design the world's most advanced airport for the future? And the person started, they talk about IoT and AI and so many other things. And they talk about a lot of technologies that are possible. And then the person told that, assume that you only had about 20,000 square feet of land. Now the whole answer has to be changed. They straight away jump to the solution without understanding the scope and the constraints and everything. Right? So always remember that you need to first make sure that you and the interviewer are on exactly the same page. Once you have understood this, now there is a format that you can go ahead and practice. Number one is always understand the goal. Why are we doing this? If people are trying to improve, are they trying to improve the number of users, or they are trying to improve the engagement, or they are trying to improve, solve a particular problem, or they are trying to improve the revenue? What are they trying to improve? If the interview has not told you anything, you can go ahead and either ask them, or you can take an assumption and you can tell them that I believe that for this, I will take revenue as the major goal. Right? The second part is, once you have understood the goals, the second part is you have to understand who are the different kind of people who are using this platform. This is very critical. You have to understand various kind of people who are using this platform. For example, if I talk about improving LinkedIn, I should be talking about people who are job seekers, who come to LinkedIn for finding jobs, people who are content consumers, who come to LinkedIn to find content from their favorite LinkedIn accounts, people who are internship seekers, people who are salespeople who want to sell stuff, people who are recruiters who want to hire people. So there are multiple people who can go ahead and come to LinkedIn in order to satisfy their needs. So you have to go ahead and categorize them, right? Understand, I have told you that user empathy in the product sense stack, user empathy is a basic skill. If you do not have user empathy, if you're not able to imagine who are the people who are going to use this product, it is very difficult for you to become a product manager, to be honest. So this is a skill that you need to learn and that will come with practice, right? After you've understood the user, then comes the most important step. After you have understood the users, then comes the most important step, which is problems and desires. Now what you will do is you will try to put yourself in the shoes of the user. You will try to put yourself in the shoes of the user, and then you will try to come up with what are the different kind of problems that this person might be facing. What are the different kind of problems that this person might be facing? If you are improving a product, then you can suggest, you can look at what are the things that are problems within the product flow. What are the things that are the problem within the product flow? Or if you are creating a new product, then you can understand what are the problems that are these people are facing in their own lives. Right? Problems which are very specific to these users. For example, if you are creating a refrigerator for kids, you will understand that kids have some needs and desires. The basic limitation of a kid is that their heights are shorter. Okay, so maybe if you are putting something at the, like if you are creating a long fridge or a fridge that has high height, they might not be able to reach. Similarly, children are, let's say, children are not able to defend themselves. They cannot carry heavy weight. So if the door of the, given that inside that people, we have to make sure that children are not stuck inside the refrigerator. We need to make sure that eventually that as a problem, we need to understand that whatever the material that we are using, it is safe for children, right? So you have to understand the considerations of that particular audience. right? Similarly, you can understand one more consideration, that children actually love some bright colors most of the times, right? So you have to understand the constraints, the problems, the desires, the needs of these particular users. This is super important. And once this is done, now you are going to come to solutions and features. Understand, you will not solve every problem. You will see what are the problems that are important enough, and then you will pick these problems. Then you will come up with problems of. Hmm, just give me a moment. Let me disable the nomination. Just give me a moment, guys. Hmm, cool. So once you have gone and understood the solutions and features, you have created the solutions and features. In the end, you are going to give the metrics. How do you know if the solution that you have created or the problem that you have solved are actually helping the company achieve its goals, right? So these are the 5 steps that you need to follow. I'll repeat this again. Whenever someone asks you a question around product sense, try to first ask clarification question to make sure that the scope is clear. Then understand the goals. Goals could be user growth, it could be retention or engagement, it could be revenue growth, or there is some specific problem that you want to solve. Similarly, you are going to understand who are the different kind of users who can use this platform. Then you will understand what are the problems and desires of these people. This is a super important step. And how do you know this? You know this by running simulations in your mind, by putting yourself in the shoes of the user. This running simulation is super important. And then solutions and features, which is what could be the solutions for these problems. How do you find the solutions? Either you should use first principles thinking, or you should do conscious, deliberate practice. Look at multiple products, understand how they are solving particular solutions, particular problems, okay, and then go into an interview. Right? With better experience, your quality of solutions will definitely improve because now you know more about the world. And the last part is metrics. In the end, you have to tell them how are you going to measure the success, the progress, or the failure of this particular feature or the product, right? And in the end, you have to summarize everything to make sure that you and the interviewer are on exactly the same page, right? Now, one more important part. The common mistake that people make is the common mistake that people straight away jump to this. People straight away jump to this rather than understanding the problems well. If I say I want to create, let's say, a washing machine for blind people, people will straight away jump to the feature that this should be the height, or this should be the color, or this should be the features. We will implement this AI, we will implement this, let's say, touch free technology or something. Please don't make that mistake. If you make that mistake, within 2 minutes of the interviewer have already taken you out of their mind. Okay, so this is the 5 steps. Everyone, a quick yes or no in the chat if you are able to understand this. Hmm. Now, now you have understood what is the pattern, how question is asked, and this question, these product sense questions, are almost 70-80% of a product management interview. At least for newbies. For seniors, behavior is an important part, but for newbies, this is the most important question. Okay, so let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. How would you design an e-learning platform for corporates? Take 1 minute and give me answers in the chat. Please do not use ChatGPT and make a stupid out of yourself. Please don't use ChatGPT. This is just to make sure that you are able to understand the concept of it. Okay, take 1 minute and then try me whatever is there in your mind. Go ahead, guys. Take your time. How would you design an e-learning platform for corporates? What is the goal objective of building this platform? What kind of user are you trying to solve it? Design. Most likely students, I feel corporate employees will be interested to study, so we fun and productive time. Hmm. Which tech courses are popular in corporates and make referral-based login something to acquire customers? Cool. Interesting. So we have few points in the chat. Let me go ahead and help you understand how it happens. Just give me a moment. Just give me one moment, guys. Yes. Yes. So now few people have talked about some obvious mistakes. Okay. So first of all, what you should never do. So some people in the chat have started talking about, let's say, somebody has talked about whether we are going to do it for laptop or for mobile. Some people have gone ahead and talk about payment links. Some people have gone ahead and talked about, is it for internal training, external training? Some people have talked about what kind of content do we want. Yes, Kaushiki has talked about, is it like LinkedIn learning? Okay. And let me find some more. Yes. And then Krishnendu has talked about that whether which tech courses are people liking. Similarly, we are going to make a referral based login, right? So if you, every one of you is able to observe, if every one of you is able to observe, you will see that we are making a very common mistake here. In all of these suggestions, we are making a very common mistake is we are jumping to solutions. If you jump to solution too soon, you are already out from the intent. Even if the quality of a solution is very good, if you are not following the right process, generally understand you can be right once. In your solutions, you can be right once. But if you follow the right process, there are high likely chances that you will be right all the times. And understand, as a PM, you are not solving only one problem in your life. You have to solve multiple problems. So rather than solving one problem, you should make sure that you are a good problem solver as a whole. Right? So people want to understand whether you are a good problem solver or not. So they do not want to look at your solutions. They want to look at the method at which you have arrived at the solution. Okay. So now going ahead, what could be the answers for this question? Okay. The first is an absolutely bad answer. An absolutely bad answer, but unfortunately, this is also the most common answer, which is I would design a website where companies can upload training videos for their employees. I would have user accounts where to watch videos, maybe could add some quizzes too. We would make it look nice and professional. Okay. Understand all we are talking about in this is solutions. You do not have to jump to the solution space. If you are going to take one key takeaway from all of the four sessions that we have conducted, it should be it. That please do not jump to the problem space. Right? After this, second is what could be a good answer? A good answer is, first of all, you ask clarification questions in context. For example, what are the different kind of corporates are we talking about? Okay. What are their needs? Is it an existing product? Is it a new product? Is the company already existing in the market or it's a new company which is offering a new product at all? So you are going to first understand the context. Once you understand the context, then you understand who are the key stakeholders. The HRs are going to set up the training. The employees are going to use the training. The content creators are going to create the training. So you are going to make sure that you are taking care of all of these users. Once that is done, you are going to understand their needs. What do they want? The creators wants to be able to upload very quickly. They want to make sure that they are able to create quizzes so that they are able to assess people, right? So you will be able to go ahead and understand their needs, desires, and the purpose. Once you have done this, the third part is outline the core features. Once you have understood the problems, now you can go ahead and start talking about the features or the solutions for these particular problems. Okay. And solutions could be maybe user management, course creation, progress, tracking, assessment that satisfy these user needs. Right. And then consider any key system requirement. So let's say if it's a technical round, you can also talk about what are the key system requirements, which is how do we make sure that the system is scalable, secure, and all these kind of things. Right. And in the end, you are also going to discuss what could be the challenges, what could be the caveats, and then you will suggest some success metrics. This is a good enough answer. In most of the times, this is the answer that is can get you go ahead and selected if you are honest about it, if you are actually following the right process, and if you have some understanding of the product sets. A best answer could be that it will be as detailed as a good answer, but it will also be more in depth and it will additionally be with proactive identification and mitigations of risks and trade-offs. Understand? As a PM, as you get into PM, you will understand that there are no right answers. Some answers are more right than others. Some answers are more wrong than others. Right? So you have to understand how to prioritize, how to make sure that you are able to calculate these trade-offs, and how you are able to mitigate risks. That if we do this, this can happen. So how do we mitigate this? How we are going to align and run experiments. These are the things that you need to go ahead and learn as a product manager. Right? So this is the format that you need to follow. Not the format, forget about the format, but understand the way of answering the question. You are covering all the important points. Important points as in number one, making sure that you are able to understand who the users are, what is the purpose, what is their problems, and then only you go ahead and jump to the solutions part. Right? A quick yes on everyone if you are able to understand this. Now that we have understood this, okay, yes, and also understand when you are talking about their needs, then you can insert your competitive insights. Let's say you have already seen multiple learning management systems. If you have already seen multiple learning management system, you will understand that there are some basic features that every one of these has. You have to, if you are not able to understand the needs of the user, you can look at the features of the competition, any LMS that you have used, and then you can reverse engineer the features into problems, right? In order to understand the needs and run simulations in your mind, you can also use this trick that look at what are the other products that exist for the same audience, what are the features that they have, and why would these features exist. Reverse engineer the feature from a solution to a problem. Then you'll understand that yes, these are the key problems. So reverse engineer your competition is also a method of empathy with your users, right? So this is about the first kind of question and the most common kind of questions asked in PM interviews, right? Now let me go ahead and talk about the second question. The second kind of questions are, they are also very common, and they are also sometimes a sub part of the product sense questions, because in the end, in the product sense question, you have to come up with the metrics, right? So here, the examples of metric questions are, as a PM at Spotify podcast, define success and what metrics would you measure? Meta 2024. How would you measure the success of Google Cloud Storage? Google 2024. How would you measure the effectiveness of eBay search algorithm? eBay 2024. What metrics would you measure as a PM for DoorDash? DoorDash 2024. Right? And these questions are not asked to make you uncomfortable, but they are asked to make sure that whether you have these skills or not, which is user empathy, data fluency, prioritization, business sense, problem solving, and communication. These are the skills that are being tested when they ask you the metrics questions. Okay. So how to answer metric questions? I'll give you a pattern. Okay. Metrics questions are answered in the following way. I'll give you 5 steps. The number one step is make sure you are asking the clarification questions to be on the same page. If someone asks you, how would you improve? Or how would you, what could be the success metrics for WhatsApp's status feature? WhatsApp has a method of putting daily stories status. So, what could be the success metric of that particular feature? So, you need to make sure that your understanding of statuses and the understanding of that particular interviewer is also the same. You are talking about the same feature. Otherwise, they are talking about something else and you are talking about something else. So, please ask clarification questions to make sure that both of you are on the same page. Even if you do not are asking qualification, if you do not have any clarification questions, at least iterate yourself and put up your assumptions so that you both of you are on the same page, right? Second part is, this is a very important question. Ask yourself why this product was created or why this feature was created. This will give you the answer of the question. Why this feature was created. Now, why would someone go ahead and create, like, why would have Mark Zuckerberg created the story feature or the status feature on WhatsApp? Why? Answer this question, why he would have created. The simple answer is because you have to put a story. That story will go away in 24 hours. So you as a user, you have to come to the platform every 24 hours. We want to publish a new story. And other people who are the viewers of this status or story, they have to keep on checking their WhatsApp status to make sure that yes, they are updated with all of their contacts' WhatsApp statuses. So this is an engagement game. He or Facebook is trying to improve WhatsApp's daily active users or engagement with this particular feature. Right? This is the most critical part. After this, the question is very easy. Okay, why would this feature be created? And the second question is, why would Facebook or WhatsApp wants to increase engagement? Because if more people are using WhatsApp, there are more chances that people are going to run ads, although WhatsApp does not run ads right now. But more advertisers are going to go ahead and pay money to WhatsApp in order to go ahead and buy their APIs, business APIs, and do multiple other things. Right? So always ask yourself, how is it helping the business? How is it helping the users? How would you know? And this is your answer for the main question. Now, the third step is map the user journey and critical metrics. Now, in order to post a WhatsApp status, in order to see a WhatsApp status, people have to go through a journey. They will open WhatsApp, they will click on the status, they will go ahead, upload a photo or a message, and then they will click post. Someone else who has to go ahead and maybe watch the status, they have to go in their status tab. They will click on that, they will click on your name or your photo, and then they will be able to see your status or your update. Right? This is the flow. Now, it could be possible that the feature is working or not working because of one or the other steps. Let's say you have created a very fantastic feature. You have created a very fantastic feature, but that feature is not discoverable. People are not able to find that feature, then that feature is going to fail. That is why mapping the whole user journey is important so that you are able to understand on which step is it not working. Right? The third part is once you have gathered all of these things, now you have to create a metric tree. What is a metric tree? I'm going to show in just a moment. Okay. So create a metric tree and then try to create leading and lagging metrics. Leading metrics are people, what are the things that are happening right now and you can measure them right now. For example, a person views the page. You can see they have viewed the page. You have the metrics. But someone going ahead, but this views translating into sales is a lagging metric. Once you create a great product, after some period of time, people go ahead and start buying the product and then they become your loyal users. So revenue is a lagging metric, and the efforts that you put, let's say building features and everything, whatever they bring is called as a leading metric. Right? And then find D&D or guardrail metric. Guardrail metric means in pursuit of this particular big metric, you should not disturb the other metrics. In pursuit of this metric, you should not disturb the other metric. For example, if you are trying to increase the number of downloads, if you are trying to increase the number of downloads, make sure that you are not reducing the rating of the app. You are not reducing the retention of the app. Right? If you are adding some fields in the sign up form to make sure that you are adding more information about the user, in the pursuit of that feature, you should make sure that the number of signups and people who are completing the onboarding are not reducing. So, what are the metrics that should not go down or that should not be disturbed while following your main metric? Right? So, these are the 5 steps that you need to follow. Now, let me go ahead and show you the metric tree. Okay. So, the question is, what would be the success metrics for WhatsApp status updates? Okay. I have told you the format. Now, we will create a metric tree. Metric tree is very simple. The major purpose is this: they want to increase daily active users. Whatever are the top social networking websites or messaging apps in the world, they have something called as daily active users as their major metric. And for every industry, there are few major metrics. For example, in a SaaS business, monthly recurring revenue or annually recurring revenue is their major metric. Right? For social networks, daily active users is the major metric. Right? For someone like Amazon, sales is their major metric for that particular month or that particular year. Right? Now we have understood that daily active users is the major purpose of WhatsApp status. Now what we can do is we can break it down into multiple parts. Who will the daily active user? Daily active users will be people who are creating the status and people who are consuming the status. Someone who is creating the status and someone who is looking at the status. Okay. Now I can break it down into multiple parts. Number of users who are creating the status multiplied by number of statuses who are generated. Then I can break it down further into new users who are creating the status and repeat users who are creating the status. Similarly, I can break this consumption into multiple parts. So people who are actually viewing the status tab, then people who are engaging with the status, like likes and other kind of emotions, and then people who are spending time on the status, how much time that they are spending. Okay, and then status views, replies, and reports. Now, this will give you a complete snapshot of whether this feature is a healthy feature. Is it actually going in the right direction or not? And if you believe that daily active users are not increasing, they are actually decreasing or they are static. So now you know that yes, either people are not creating statuses or people are not consuming statuses. So now you can go further into this funnel or this tree to understand what is happening there. So metrics are decided not only to understand the progress, but also to understand if something is not going well, what we can do in order to, right? So this is how you find metrics for a feature, right? Eventually understand these daily active users will increase the time spent on the product. And if more and more people are spending more time, if it is an advertisement related product, the ad revenue will increase, right? A quick yes or no in the chat, everyone, if you're able to understand this. Wonderful. Guys, for revision, you can always go ahead and go through the YouTube video. Because of the limitation of time and so many topics to cover, we might not be able to give you a revision. And that would not be good with everyone else who has already understood. Okay, cool. So this is it. Now let's go ahead and talk about one more very interesting type of question. But right now we are on time, so we will take a quick break of 5 minutes and then we will come back. Go ahead, guys. Take a break, get up from your chair, drink some water, and come back. We will come back once the timer ends. Hello everyone, welcome back. Please write I am back in the chat if you are back. Yes, please write I'm back in the chat if you are back. Yes, just give me one moment. Amazing. Cool. So now we will go ahead and talk about the next steps. Yes. So far we have already talked about, so far we have already talked about, Hmm, cool. So far we have already talked about two kind of questions. One is the product sense question, super important. And we have talked about metrics questions. Now let me go ahead and give you one more thinking kind of questions, which is root cause analysis. Okay. Many of the times when you're working as a PM, things will not go as you wanted them. Some things will break, some things will work, even if you don't imagine them to work. But it's your responsibility as a PM to go from the symptoms to the root cause. When you go to the doctor, you tell them that I'm not feeling hungry, or I'm feeling my temperature is a bit elevated. I don't feel like eating. These kind of things. But the doctor goes ahead, moves beyond your symptoms in order to understand what is the root cause of this, what is the infection that you are dealing with. Similarly, as a product manager, you have to act as a doctor sometimes and try to understand what is the reason for this particular jump or dip in a particular metric, right? So the example of these kind of questions are the example of these kind of questions are number one, yes. So the number one example for these kind of questions are engagement on Facebook needs is feeds is going down. What would you do? Asked in Meta 2023. Instagram feed impressions are down by 30%. What would you do? Right? So these are common questions. And understand here, people are also not testing your ability to come up with the solution as soon as possible. They are testing your ability to arrive at solutions. What are you able to do to arrive to solutions? What is your method to the madness? Right? So here they are checking skills such as user empathy, problem solving, communication, data fluency, prioritization, business and growth. Understand all of these things are related to how you go ahead and articulate and give this answer. Right? So what happens here is here I am going to give you a framework. Not even it's not a framework, it's actually I would say a mental model. Okay. Where what you do is you take up a situation and you break down that situation into multiple variables. For example, whenever a metric changes, you have to follow a certain process. You will see whether we are correctly measuring the metrics or not. So whether we are actually measuring it or not, is it an infrastructure issue? Sometimes it happens that your analytics tool are not capturing the right data. So you will verify it. Okay. Similarly, are there any bugs in the implementation? Right? Are there any technical issues because of which this feature is not working? Similarly, the second could be product factors. Product factors are, have you changed anything because of which this change has happened? For example, someone asks a question that number of wall posts on Facebook have gone down. In 2010, if you remember, everyone used to throw posts on each other's wall, right? But after 2011, the number of wall posts that people do on each other's wall, it has gone down. And then Once the PM started understanding, they understood that yes, it has gone down because now Facebook is more aggressive about their messenger and their private messaging. Initially, people used to talk to each other through wall messages, wall post. But now they are talking to each other in privately through their real-time chatting mechanism or the messenger feature, right? So because of some or the other feature or UX UI change, it might happen that other features are getting affected. So as a PM, you should be able to ask and understand what different features could be built or what could be the changes which have brought this impact, right? Factors such as the product. Third is user factors. It could be something that something in the life of the user has changed. The behavior has shifted. The behavior has shifted. So what happened in 2020-21 was a lot of companies, edtech companies became popular because what happened? Kids were at home and they were not able to go to school. So parents wanted kids to at least go ahead and learn something in their free time because schools were not there. So what they did was they bought multiple edtech products for kids and then they have enrolled them as subscriptions. Now, these companies have started to think that this is going to remain forever. Okay. And once the lockdown has ended in 2022, 2023, they were able to understand that no, this is not going to happen. And all the parents who have taken their kids from school to home and they were reading at home have started sending their kids to home, their kids to the schools. And because of which, what happened? People were able to go ahead and understand. Yes, people have able to go ahead and started to see a shift in behavior. Right. Similarly, there are many no-code tools which are popular before 2022. So tools such as Webflow, such as Software, these were very popular. Like people were thinking that a revolution will come. But after that, what happened? Something changed. The segment changed. For example, some market forces changed and AI came. Because of which now people do not want to use no-code tools. They just are using prompts in order to generate the full codes. They don't need a drag and drop builder. They just need a prompt and then they can create their apps in the form of natural language. Right? So behavior has changed, segment has also changed. One other example of segment is that people who were using your product initially, now these people's segments have changed. Initially, LinkedIn was created only for job seekers and job people who are giving jobs, recruiters. But now content creators and content consumers are also there. So it might be possible that some feature usage could go up and down. Right? After this, some business factors such as you are running certain kind of marketing campaigns because of which the metrics are either going up or they are going down. Let's say you run a marketing campaign, you are a company called as Snapdeal, and you have a brand ambassador, Amir Khan, and he's told something that should not be said. And then because of which your number of downloads are decreasing. But unknowingly, you are also a company whose name is Snapchat, and you don't know what has happened in the market, and your downloads have also going down. So you have to make sure that you are also keeping the track on the same. Right? Understand this is not a PM's mistake. This is no one's mistake. But as a PM, you should be aware of the same so that you can go ahead and make sure that how can you go ahead and solve the situation. Right? Similarly, some pricing changes. Okay. If someone comes and says that now initially we have 100 users and now we have 5,000 users, we have done a great job as a marketing team. And now you understood that they have started giving the product to people for almost free or at a very lower cost, and they are starting giving discounts. Then you understand that it is not a green flag, right? So you have to understand what are the reasons behind not only down in metrics but also up in the metrics, right? After that, there are external factors such as competitor actions. What are your competitors doing? Then market trends. What is happening in the market? Let's say AI has came. It has made so many products almost redundant, right? For example, there is a company called as Sheg. I'm not sure if I'm writing the spelling correctly. They used to help people, like people in the US were able to get their homework done from people in India, Bangladesh, Philippines, and other, let's say, developing countries. Right? Now with ChatGPT, this kind of product does not have a need to exist. So their share tanked on the day ChatGPT was able to become popular. Right? Now they are doing a lot of things, but not with the full impact that they were able to do before. Right? And then regulatory changes. Couple of years ago or 1 year ago, there were many companies in India who has to shut down their credit cards because RBI came up with a new policy. There were very large number of shady websites that were taken down because Europe has mandated the GDPR compliance. Right. So as a product manager, you should also be aware about these things so that you understand what is changing. So moral of the story is in root cause analysis questions, you have to keep your mind broad. And I'm giving you some variables, not saying that these are 100% of the variables, but they are at least 80% of the variables that you need to take care of. Okay. So first of all, you should understand if this metric is changing, what is the equation of this metric? Equation as in, what are the things that are various variables in defining this metric? And then how these things might have changed right now in the future or anytime. Right? So this is how you answer the root cause analysis questions. I will also share, yes, and everyone, I have also shared, well, not shared, but I'm going to share with you this particular guide. Okay. Understand, interview preparation is 95% practice, 5% the content. Content I have already created for you. So I'm going to share the sheet with you where I have mentioned multiple content pieces so that you can go ahead and prepare for product management interviews along with this playlist. Then I will share two lists with you so that you are able to understand what are the different kind of common questions that are asked, okay, in popular companies. Then I'll share a few prompts with you so that you can go ahead and practice with yourself on ChatGPT or another kind of. Okay, this will be shared with everyone who remains till the end of the session and submits the feedback form. Okay, write yes in the session if you find this piece of information valuable. The document that I'm showing you, if you need this, write yes in the session. Yes in the chat. Wonderful. And everyone, I have also, if you are there in the session, please go ahead. Just give me a moment. Yes. If you are there in the session, go ahead, take a moment to share your presence on this LinkedIn post that I've just shared. That will help us help more people like you. And this will be shared with free with everyone. It contains some prompts and also some resources from which you can understand more about the company. Okay, now let us talk about guesstimates. Okay, guesstimates are an important piece of questions which are asked in many product management interviews, plus consulting interviews, and many roles where problem solving is a very important thing. Okay, so guesstimates are questions like how many tennis balls you can fit in a Boeing 747. How many flights are there in the air right now in a particular zone? How many liters of white paint is being utilized in Bangalore? Right? How many dentists are there in Maharashtra right now or in Mumbai right now? Okay, these looks like very vague questions. How can someone answer this? But that is the point. People are not looking for answers. People are looking for how you can be calm and composed and structured and articulated when some vague situation is given to you. Right? You as a PM are responsible for leading the team from chaos to clarity. If you get cold feet with these kind of situations, how you are supposed to lead the team? So as a product manager, you should be able to solve some vague situations as well. And that is why these kind of questions are asked. These are not to just check or to go ahead and maybe make your life more problematic or disastrous. It is to make sure that you are able to perform well on the road. Okay. So similarly, here I'm going to also give you a 5-step process. The number one is ask clarification questions. This is essential. If you don't ask clarification questions, you risk of jumping into an obvious wrong solution. Okay. Then create the formula. You have to look at multiple variables and create the formula. Then you have to find the knowns and the unknowns. In this particular formula, what are the things that are known to you? What are the things that are unknown to you? Okay. After that, Do some round off and do some calculation, whatever is there at the top of your mind. I'll also share a cheat sheet with you so that you guys are able to have some common numbers at the top of your head. For example, what is the population of India? What is the population of US? What is the digital penetration in India? How many states are there in India? What is the population of Bangalore? These kind of things you should know. Okay. And then there is a sanity check. In the end, you are going to see whether you are going in the right direction or not, whether this answer actually makes sense or not. Right. Now, let me go ahead and give you a question. Okay. The question is, what is the number of dentists in India? Think about it for 2 minutes. What is the number of dentists in India? Okay. So, what is the number of dentists? Sorry, not in India, but in Maharashtra. Okay. Or Mumbai. So, although it's a very vague question, there are multiple methods to solve this question. Okay. Can you guys quickly tell me in the chat, how would you solve this? Just give me in one line, like what is the structure that you are going to follow? That is okay. What is the number of dentists in Mumbai? No, you are in an interview, so you cannot go to and take the data from the government. Yes, medical seats is a good one. So, how many colleges are there? How many graduates are happening? And what is the lifetime of an average graduate? And assume that 1% of that graduate is going to move out of Mumbai, but then another percent is going to come into Mumbai from other states, right? Correct. So, guys, there are multiple approaches. Okay. Yes. So, we are going to take an approach that is suggested by Suranjana, which is how many appointments are booked. Okay. So, let me go ahead and tell you. Okay. Guys, understand there are some easy to go answers. Easy to answer, you can say that I assume that there are 0.5% people in India who are dentists, because in my family there are 20 people and only one of them is a dentist. Okay. Yes, it could be a correct answer, I don't know, but it does not tell you anything. It tells them anything about your thinking capability, right? So you have to show them that you are able to go ahead and think through a structured process rather than just guess, right? So the first rule of guesstimates is, always remember, people are not at looking for a correct, precise answer. People are not at all looking at a correct, precise answer. They are looking for the methodology and your mindset, whether you can go ahead and think logically or not. So I'll give you a format. The format is, I'll give you one approach. Understand there could be hundreds of approaches. One approach is, I need to find the number of dentists in Mumbai. I am assuming, it is my assumption, that dentists are completely packed with work. Dentists are completely packed with work. So what I'll do is, I'll understand what are the number of appointments that are made for dentists every year. What are the number of appointments that are made for dentists every year? And how many appointments can one dentist have in a particular year? So total number of appointments divided by how many appointments one dentist can take. If you divide this number, you will get the possible number of dentists in Mumbai. Right. So now, how do you find what is the total number of appointments made for dentists per year? You are going to break this down. The total dentist number of appointments means total number of people who want to have dental appointments, who have some dental issues, multiplied by how many average visits one person makes to the dentist. Right. And then how do you find out what is the like the number of people who have dental issues? I can say, what is the population of Mumbai? And what is my assumption that these number of people are going to have dental issues? Right? Generally, people who have a certain age, who have the issues with wisdom tooth or cavity, they are going to have these kind of issues, which are generally people in the middle age. After 60, there are not dental issues because there are no teeth. Right? So, at least for most of us, right? So now, and the second part is number of appointments to a dentist that can be served. Okay, so this is very simple. what is the total number of working hours that a dentist has, and what is the duration of an appointment. So understand, what was looking like a very vague, very, let's say, a different kind of question altogether. Now we have been able to tame the beast. We have been able to structure a framework around the same. Understand, every question in Guesstimate can have different 100 approaches. You just have to keep calm and think about what could be the process. It is okay to go ahead and come up with the wrong answer, but you need to make sure that other person understand that you have a methodology to think in structure. Right? Now I can put some numbers. Let's say there are about 1.25 CR people who are living in Mumbai. Okay. If you do not know this number, you can ask the interviewer. But generally, if you are living in Mumbai, if you are applying for a job in Mumbai, and if they are asking about Mumbai, this is something that you should be aware of. Right? Similarly, percentage of people with dental issues. Let's say we assume 30. Okay. Then number of people who have dental issues, if we go ahead and do this, we will get 40 lakh. And average visit is generally 2. In 2 visits, they are able to do RCT or anything that you want to go ahead and do that. At least the latest dentist. Okay. And then this numbers come around this. And then number of appointment that can be booked depends upon number of working hours. So they are going to work 5 days a week, 8 hours a day for 52 weeks across the year. So they have these many hours divided by the appointment time, which is 1.5 hours. Okay. Then I have these many number of appointments that can be taken. If I divide it, I will get to a number which is around 6,000. So this looks like a good enough number. Similarly, it could be possible that I am, let's say, coming up with a number which is 1 lakh. So now I can see that 1 lakh is too much for a number to be a dentist. Right? So what I can do is I can now look at all of my numbers and see where I am making a wrong assumption. Okay, so this is how you tame the beast of guesstimates. Okay, I'll repeat the process again. What we did was ask clarification questions. What clarification question I could have asked? Are we talking about people who are born in Mumbai or who are actually practicing in Mumbai? And are we talking about a particular kind of dentist or so? Are we also including the hospitals in the same? Right. Similarly, we have created the formula in the form of this chart. Then we found the knowns and the unknowns. The population of Mumbai, the number of weeks in a year, the number of duration of an appointment is something that is known to us. We are confident in the same. Okay. But unknowns are what is the percentage of people who are actually serving these kind of issues. Right. That is unknown to us. So we can tweak that number in order to tweak the the answer at the end. Okay. And then round off and calculate and then sanity check. Right. So this is how you answer guesstimates, and there are hundreds of kinds of guesstimates. Okay. In the same sheet, I have added a detailed guide on cracking guesstimate questions. Okay. I have given you a 101 right now, but in the same sheet, I have shared this link where you can find multiple questions and answers and approaches for the same. Understand? This will improve with guesstimates. So guesstimates are very different kind of questions. What happens is there are some people who absolutely are afraid of guesstimates. They cannot do it. And there are some people who actually love guesstimate. You can give them guesstimate at 2 a.m. in the night and they should be able to do it. Okay. It improves with practice. Right? It is like driving a car. If someone does not know it, they are going to be very overwhelmed. They'll be very afraid in at least the first few attempts. But once someone's knows, we have talked about the guesstimate questions. Now let's talk about the second kind of question, like the fourth kind of question, which is the strategy questions. Strategy questions. In the strategy questions, there are questions such as, should Google enter into a health and fitness market? How would you increase the profitability of Blinkit? What is the profile completion? Why is profile completion important for LinkedIn? How would you grow revenue if you were Spotify, Netflix, or YouTube? Right? And here also multiple of your tests are, people are able to understand multiple of your skills. But most important skill here is your strategic thinking. Strategic thinking, are you able to think for the long term or not? Are you able to structure and align multiple things for a common goal or not? Right? And here, Although there is no particular framework, but I can suggest you a set of mental models. Okay, first is these are important strategic thinking tools that can help you out. The first is Porter's five forces. Whenever you want to understand a market, whenever you want to see whether we should go ahead and enter this market or not, you can go ahead and use Porter's five forces. Porter's five forces actually tells you what are the things that you should take care of while entering, exiting, competing in a particular market. Okay, you can read about it, the Porter's five forces at your own time. I'm not going to take your time on that. The second part is 3C4P. If you want to understand about the strategy of a particular company from multiple variables, understand problem solving is just understanding variables. That there is one thing that has to happen. What are the things that are contributing to its happening or not happening? That is called as thinking in terms of variables. Okay. Now here in 3C4P approaches, if any company wants you to talk about the strategy of any company, you can go ahead and implement this methodology. This means 3C means customer, competition, and company. Customer, competition, and company. Right? Who are the customers? Who are the competition? What does the company do? Right? And the fourth part is four P's are four P's of marketing, which is product, place, price, and promotion. Product, place, price, and promotion. If you understand 3C4P, you can take any company and you can do a very good in-depth deep down of that particular company. Right? And then a very important thinking tool I'm going to give you, which is called as issue trees. Issue trees is you take up a particular problem, you break down that problem into multiple parts, then you further break it down into multiple parts. This is how you answer most of the questions. Understand Porter's five forces and 3C4P and all of the framework that I've told you so far, they are just an example of divide and conquer. What we do is we pick up a problem statement, we break it down into multiple parts. We pick up the number of people that are Mumbai dentists in Mumbai, and then we break it down into multiple other variables. This particular thinking tool is called as issue trees. Okay, so what I'll do is I will share with you a detailed article where you can learn about issue trees that will also be attached as a part of this document. Okay, if you forget everything of this session, that's okay. Just don't forget two things. One is never jump to solutions, and second is how to use issue trees. I will share a detailed article with you so that you can go ahead and understand about the same. Okay, I will give you an example of issue tree. Okay, so let's say someone tells you that you have to increase the profit of Blinkit, you have to increase the profit of Amazon or any other company. So this is how you can create an issue tree. What is profit? Profit is equal to revenue minus cost, right? Revenue minus cost is the profit. So either you can increase revenue or you can reduce the cost. What are the costs for a company? The cost of a company are either marketing cost, operations cost, product development, design, tech cost, or there could be some licensing costs as well, right? So if you want to increase the profits of a company, you can focus on reducing these costs. Many companies are doing layoff these days and they say that we are saving on these things. Many companies are looking to improve their organic marketing so that they can save some marketing budget from performance marketing or ads. Right? Similarly, if you want to increase profits, rather than working on cost, you can also work on increasing the revenue. So you can increase the number of users. So revenue means number of users who are paying you and what is the total amount that they pay you. Average revenue per user, ARPU. Right? How you can increase the number of users? By increasing the traffic or by increasing the conversion. Let's say 100 people come to the website, only two convert. So if you want to convert four, either you have to bring 200 people or you have to increase the conversion rate by improving your product or your onboarding. Right? And then what is ARPU? ARPU is average revenue per user. Here you can let people to either buy more or you can increase the price. So if Amazon wants to improve their revenue right now, what they can do is they can either increase the pricing of the products. It will increase revenue in the short term, but in the long run, people might not use Amazon. But in the long run, what they can do is they can create better recommendation mechanism so that if people are buying something for 10 rupees, they are also willing to spend 2 more rupees in order to buy something else, which is related to that particular product. If their recommendation engine is good. Right? So this is how You can take any company in the world and try to understand what are the levers through which they can improve their profits. This is an example of issue tree. We have taken a particular equation, we have break it down into multiple parts. Right? Second could be a market entry question. Many people ask a question that whether this company should enter into this market or not. Whether Google should enter into payment market, become Google Pay. Whether Geo should enter into quick commerce. Whether Netflix should enter into podcasting, hosting. Right? So how do we decide this? We decided on the basis of multiple factors, but I'm going to tell you three important factors. Okay. This is also an example of an issue tree. Okay. How should we enter a market? It depends upon what is the size of the market and growth. Is it a good enough opportunity to pursue or not? Whether Flipkart should get into ebooks or not. Maybe not a great idea right now because ebooks are already taken over by ChatGPT. Right? Should we enter a market? Second thing is alignment and potential share. Whether it aligns with the purpose and mission of this company, and whether we will be able to get a potential share of this market or not. Whether we'll be able to get a potential share of this market or not. Right? For example, Zomato acquired a company called as Insider from Paytm. Right? This was about the events, like they used to run multiple events and it was like a competitor to BookMyShow. But now Zomato wants to enter into this scene of events in India when they started with the Diljit Dosanjh event. Okay, so they acquired Insider. Why they acquired? Because first of all, they might be able to get a better deal. Second is it has alignment with the Zomato's business model. People go to Zomato in order to feel good about themselves, in order to celebrate life. And they already have a lot of users. And similarly, they also understood that BookMyShow has not been innovating since a lot of time. So they understood that yes, we have a potential to grab a lot of market share. Right? And the last part is required investment. This should not be forgetting. Understand? Any company can go ahead and acquire any company if these are the only factors. But they are not able to acquire because they don't have enough money. Okay. So Windsurf is a recent company which is acquired for almost, I think, $4.5 billion by OpenAI. Yes, these things were there, but OpenAI also had money to go ahead and buy this company. They have that much value, right? So three things are decided. First is growth size and market size and growth, alignment and potential share, and required investment to go into this particular area, right? And this is also a similar kind of example. Should we acquire this company? The acquisition of a company can depend on multiple factors. First is what is the value of the company? What is the current valuation? What is the growth of the company? These are positive markers. Understand? Instagram, when Facebook acquired Instagram, it was not a big company, but they were rapidly growing. Right? Similarly, fitment. Fitment means whether it aligns with the purpose of this company. Instagram was acquired by Facebook not because a fantastic product or something. Yes, it was a fantastic product, but the major reason was it was also a threat to Facebook because world was moving from text to images, right? And whether it is going to open a new market for the company and how easy or bad is the integration. Most of the merger and acquisitions fail because people are not able to integrate companies together. Right? So this is about the integration. Integration as in whether all the things in the company, like whether we can go ahead and make it one company, one product so that users are able to have the great experience and teams are also coordinating. Right? And the last part is cost, which is the negative part, which is what is the price that we are paying and what is actually the cost of this integration. Is it easy? Is it difficult? Is it more technical heavy? What is the risk involved in this? Okay. Understand, guys? Although every acquisition is different, but generally the factors are 70% the same. Right? And if you start creating issue trees on your own, you should be able to build this mental muscle around strategic thinking. Right? Now let me go ahead and give you the fifth kind of question, which is behavioral questions. Okay, but if before that, tell me on a scale of 1 to 5, you are able to understand the strategic questions and what could be the approaches to answer them. Wonderful, great. People who are four, they can always go back to the recording on YouTube in order to check this. Right? Now let me go ahead and talk about behavioral questions. In behavioral questions, we have these are the most important question, not only for let's say people who are very senior, for them they are super important, but also for people who are just beginning. And for behavioral questions, the number one thing is what you should do is two pieces of advice for behavioral questions. Two pieces of advice for behavioral questions. Number one piece is right now forget about your resume. Okay. You have to create a good resume in order to get shortlisted. But I believe if you are in an interview, you have already passed that particular challenge, right? So what you should do is you should create a Google Doc with all of your life experiences so far. By all, I mean all. It could be a 10-page document, 20-page documents. You shouldn't care. Just write your story. You do not have to share it with anyone. So write your heart out. What are the things that you have done? What are the things that you're proud of? What are the problems that you have solved? How many people have you coordinated with? What is the trajectory of that feature? What are the challenges you have faced? Make sure that you are creating an as long possible document as you can. Okay. The second part is understand the job description. What is written in the job? Understand? I know that many of the job descriptions are copy pasted, generated from GPT and all, but that is your best document to understand what that job is. Although it is limiting, but it is the best document that is available to you. So try to understand what is your fitment with the job description. Job description contains your responsibilities that are going to be your domain expertise, your responsibilities and your domain expertise. Now, from that Google Doc, you have to highlight things. You have to look at things which are related to these job opportunities, these responsibilities, and the domain matter expertise. This is how you will find some stories for yourself. It is important to have some stories for yourself so that you can talk about them in that interview. When someone asks you a question that how would you like introduce yourself in the call as in the interview, they are not looking about your basics and where you were born and these kind of things. They can't care enough about it. They can't care less about it. So what you need to do is understand how you can make yourself most relevant to this job. How you can make yourself most relevant to this particular job. That is what you need to do. Okay. And for that, this is the only method. If you go through your resume, understand, we generally recommend you to have one pager resume. In one pager resume, you have already deleted so many irrelevant things. So it is good to create a Google Doc so that you have your own story. Right? Once you have this, now this is how these are some simple questions. Some simple questions are introduce yourself, introduce yourself. How do you influence the people who do not report to you? Because as a product manager, you need to lead by influence rather than authority. How do you enable cross-function collaboration? A situation where you have to deal with a difficult person. Your recent weakness, one weakness that you have recovered from. How do you manage conflict, a situation? Talk about an achievement, problem solving you are most proud of. How do you handle feature requests from sales? So these are the questions, and I'm also going to give you a more exhaustive list, which you should 100% prepared before going to an interview. Many people think that because it is my story, why do I need to rehearse it? Right? But understand your articulation skills are being challenged when it's a very high stake situation, such as an interview. Right? So always remember, always remember that you do not, you don't rise to the level of occasion. You fall to the level of your practice. Always remember this. You do not rise to the level of occasion. Don't think that if there's a situation, I'm going to eventually live up to it. No. you fall to the level of your practice. Make sure that your level of practice is very, very high so that even if you fall, you have done great practice, right? This is super important for any PM interview. Okay. Now, after this, here they are checking simple skills, which are cross-functional collaboration, leadership skills, stakeholder management. And as a product manager, you should have them. If you do not have these skills, you cannot operate as a product manager, right? Product manager is not just thinking, it is doing. You have to coordinate with people in order to get the work done, right? And how do you prepare for this? First is the questions that I'm going to give you, including these. You always make sure that you have prepared, rehearsed answer for the same. And you should try to make answers relevant for the company. Okay, that is the first part. Second part is start with a takeaway and always have a takeaway, which is what did you learn from this situation? People are not interested in your stories. They are interested in what did you learn from it so that you can be valuable for the next company. Right? Second is communicate in structure, be prepared. You can use this structure. There is a very popular method called as STAR: situation, task, action, and results. You can read about it on Google. I'll also attach some more details on the same in the doc so that you can go ahead and learn about it. Okay. Then super, super important. Never badmouth, look at the bigger picture. This is a common thing to slip. There is like someone who hires product managers, and they used to ask people that if there is some one thing that you are going to change about your past manager, what it is going to be. And then people started bitching about their manager that this is how he does it. He does not know the work. He always gives me more work that I can do. He never guides me. And then they understood that if you are, let's say, bitching about your past manager, what is stopping you from doing the same to the future manager? Right? Understand, I'm not saying that managers are all good. Okay. There are bad managers, but interview is not a place to badmouth. It says more about you and your ability to deal with difficult people rather than the other person because they are not present in the room. Right? So please always look at the bigger picture. The bigger picture is you have to make sure that you are focusing on the best outcomes for the users and for the business. You always have to focus on the best outcomes for the users and the business. And this is what you need to go ahead and communicate. After this, show that you don't repeat mistakes. When people ask you what is your mistake, what are the things that you have done incorrectly, always show that you are someone who does not repeat mistake and be that person. Just don't do it for the sake of interview, but try to make sure that you are not repeating the mistakes. So reflection after every decision, after every metric measurement is important. So that understand it's okay in product management to fail. First feature will always fail. First version will always fail. But what is not good is you do not know why has it failed. So make sure that you understand the reason of that failure and you try to avoid it in the future. Right? And the last part is be specific and highlight your contribution. There are some people who are very good with pitching. And there are some people who are at the different side of the spectrum, opposite side of the spectrum. They say that everything was done by the team. Everything was done by the team. I was just, let's say, at the right place at the right time. Understand? You can be modest in your life. That's a good skill to have. But interview is not the place to be modest. You have to showcase to the team that if they are spending money in you, they are actually bringing someone who is actually able to move the needle and not just depend on the situation and being so modest. So always make sure that you are specific and you highlight your contribution. Okay. And in order to improve all of this, you can have, let's say, an articulation framework. One popular framework is STAR. I will attach some notes around the same so that you are able to understand what is STAR, how you can communicate in this. Okay. And if you want to read some more books, I will recommend three resources. First is Amazon's 16 leadership principles. I have a video on that in the notes that I'm going to share with you, so you can go through it. Second is there is a very fantastic book, not only if you want to become a product manager, but if you want to operate in life. This is the must-read book, which is How to Influence Friends and Win People. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, like a interesting book. And the last is Radical Candor. So if you are looking to get into leadership roles, this is a must-read book for everyone. This book will help you understand how to give the right kind of feedback, which is honest. Understand? If you give bad feedback, like if you're not telling, if you're being too critical in your feedback, that could be bad. If you're not critical in your feedback, that is also bad, not only for the company, but also for the person. So if you read this book, Radical Contour, you should be able to understand how to actually make sure that you are able to help people grow in life. You become a better stakeholder. Okay. And we also have to cover technical question, but I don't think we have enough time. So what I'll do is in the same YouTube channel, in the same YouTube video, I'm going to attach a video where I have already covered this. So you can go ahead and go through this. Okay. Now let me go ahead and tell you a very important thing. And this is also almost a conclusion of summer of product. So focus on this, everyone. Tell me focus in the chat if you are focusing on the session right now. Tell me focus in the chat if you are focusing on the session right now. This is very important. Cool. Great. So everyone understand that what I or anyone else in the world can give you is information. But information is not helpful for you. Information is available chat, GPT, Google anyways. Okay. Anyone can go ahead and take the information in one minute. Information is not at all helpful. What you need is knowledge. How do you convert information into knowledge? You convert it with the help of action and reflection. People say that failures are the stepping stones to success. People say that failures are the stepping stones to success. Can people tell me yes or no if you agree with this statement? Failure is the stepping stone to success. Tell me yes or no if you agree. Yeah, so tell me if failures were the stepping stone to success. If failures were the stepping stone to success, then wouldn't everyone who tries and everyone who goes ahead and fails, wouldn't they also be a successful person? So that is not correct. What you need is, you don't really need action. You actually need a lot of reflection. You have to take a step back. What has gone wrong? What I could improve next time? So you have to be conscious and deliberate about your learning. If you are just always going with the flow, maybe good things will not come to you. You have to live a conscious and a very deliberate life. Not only let's say in the professional world, but also in the personal world. Okay. So you need to do practice. What I'll suggest you is, you should always practice. First is, make sure that you revise this deck and resources. Pick up the question. I'm going to share a couple of resources with you. Record yourself answering. I'll also tell you how to do this chat GPT. Review with AI or find a buddy. Okay. So you can also go ahead and post it on LinkedIn. Once you have done with the initial exercise that I give you can go ahead and post on LinkedIn that I have done this program. I have a fundamental understanding of product management. You can post about it on LinkedIn. And then you can invite people to do mock interviews with you, so that people understand that everyone is at least at the basic level. Now you can go ahead and enhance from there. Okay. Now, one major announcement, everyone, and everyone who is watching at YouTube, they should also listen to this. Now, we have seen that many people have not been able to submit the product activity on time. So now you have two things. If you want the certificate of the session, if you want the certificate of the session, plus we are going to conduct a bonus session in July for AI for product managers, which is a very common topic that you people have been asking for. If you want these two things, you should, within the next 24 hours, you should articulate your learnings from all the four sessions. The recordings are available on YouTube. Okay. And share it on your LinkedIn. If you want to tag us, it is okay. Even if you don't tag us, that is okay. Just submit the link so that we are able to understand if you have learned something from the session. Now, all the four videos are available to you. You have the full Sunday with you so that you can go ahead and prepare. There are so many AI tools that you can use in order to go ahead and understand the notes for yourself. Okay. So please go ahead and do this. Okay. Plus, we have also launched a case study competition. Okay. Let me show you where that is. Okay. So we have launched a case study competition on Unstop. That link will also be sent to you through email and through WhatsApp. So This is a problem statement. Okay. These are the timelines. If you go to unstop, if you click on register and then you click on brief slash case, you should be able to get the problem statement. Okay. We are going to choose 5 teams which are going to go in the finale. And every team who gets into the finale, no matter they win or not, they are going to get one-on-one feedback from the top mentors, expert mock interviews, expert resume review, showcasing their case study to all the 50,000 people, folks, and companies who have been the part of HelloPM. Then you are going to get a swag box from HelloPM containing t-shirts and all. And we are also creating a HelloPM premium library with about 60 plus top quality videos for you regarding all the topics that you can imagine in product management. Okay. Plus, there are some cash prizes as well, right? So you can look at the problem statement. I'll go ahead and share. You can go to Unstop. I can share the link right now in the chat as well if you guys are interested. Okay. Just make sure that you participate. Even if you submit a bad case, that's okay. Just go ahead and attempt. You will learn something through attempting. I've already told you that most of the learning is actually course correction. Okay. Along with this, I will give you the details of this page, how you can get it. Everyone who wants this document, I am going to share one form with you. Just give me a moment. There is that form. Just give me a moment. Yes. So everyone, I have shared a form in the chat. Take 5 minutes to submit this form. Okay. Anyone who submits the form, we are going to go ahead and give this particular link to them. Okay. This is to make sure that we are able to get your feedback and then we are able to give you the right resources. Okay. Everyone fill the form and once you are, yes, cool. So everyone go ahead and fill the form. Super important. This document contains almost everything that you need to prepare for a PM interview. Sessions around product sense, product metrics, interview preparation playlist, how to prepare for guesstimates, and cheat sheet for guesstimates and other resources. It also contains two major sheet. One sheet is how can you, like, what are the different kind of questions that are asked in PM interviews. This is a sheet maintained by Lewis Lynn, the famous author of Decode and Conquer. The recent question that is posted here is actually from 20th of June, which is today, yesterday only. Okay. And then I have given you few prompts which you can use in order to practice well for free with AI. Everyone, please fill the feedback form, super important. The feedback form will also be available in the YouTube comments. So people who are watching it on YouTube, you can also go ahead and go through the feedback form. Yes. Again, mentioning people who have missed sharing the activities in the past, we are giving you one last chance. You can collect all the notes that you have collected so far, go through the sessions. We will always provide you with the recordings and then make it available on LinkedIn so that other people are able to learn from you and they are able to access the resources as well. Okay. And one major request that whenever you are sharing your notes, also share the repository link, the link that you have created on Substack. Please also share that link so that people who want to read the whole content, they should be able to access it for free as well. Everyone, please go ahead, submit the feedback form. Right. Now, in the end, I'll give you one more thing. Okay. So Yes. Now I'll give you one more thing, which is an interesting tool I'm going to suggest. Okay. So if you are not using this tool, okay, there is a tool called as Notebook LM. Okay. This is a tool that is super helpful for people who want to do any kind of research. Okay. So what you should do is, everyone first tell me yes or no in the chat if you know about Notebook LM. Tell me yes or no in the chat if you know about Notebook LM. Wonderful. I think I have told you in one of these sessions. Yes. Cool. So if you don't know it or if you have never used it, you are missing out on an opportunity. Okay. So let's say before I go into any interview, I need to do a research on that company. But the company has a long website, the founder has conducted multiple podcasts, and there are many competitors. So how can I do so? So what I do is create new, go to notebooklm.google.com, click on create new. And if founder has done any kind of podcast anywhere, you can go ahead and or anyone who has done talk about the company, you can mention these resources. For example, let's say I want to understand about I want to understand about how to become an AI PM. Okay, so what I'll do is I've written a detailed article on how to become an AI PM. So I'll copy this. I will go to Notebook LM. I will put a website. I will paste this. I have created my own article. I will do this. So this is one of the most detailed articles that you will find on AIML for product managers. Okay. Again, I will add one more source. So on my YouTube channel also, I have talked about AI for product managers. So this is the video. I'll copy this. I will also post this link. Right. Now the Notebook LM has done the magic in order to the Notebook LM has done the magic in order to create some very simple to use guides for you. For example, you want to create an frequently asked question section from all of these notes. It will be able to create for you. You want to understand a study guide. For example, let me create a study guide. I have clicked on this. This note would be created. Give it a moment. Now it is created. Okay. So now if I look at this study guide. What are the core concepts? What is this? So if you just want to go ahead and quickly read through the summary, rather than going through the whole article, you can go ahead and read this summary guide. Right? So when you have so many pages of documents to consume and you want to do the research rapidly, this is a super power tool for you. The issue with ChatGPT is not able to contain that much context. It is not able to sometimes go through the entire videos. But because YouTube and Google are same products, it is able to contain that bigger context by itself. Okay, so everyone, my suggestion is you can go ahead and use these tools in order to learn so many things about product management. Okay, if you want to prepare for interviews, what you should do is search on YouTube multiple product management interview questions, how people are answering it, put all the links here, and then create a guide for yours. Right? A magical feature is I can just create on this generate, it will generate a podcast for me. So if I am someone who is not able to read for a long period of time because I don't have time to sit, what I can do is whenever I am going to gym, I am going to drive my car, I am walking, I am exercising, I can go ahead and generate this podcast and I can listen to it on the go. Okay. It might take a few minutes, but as soon as it is done, you should be able to hear this like two podcast shows are talking to each other, and all the content would be from the context that I have shared. Right. So this is almost like a personal LLM. Right. So with that being said, guys, we will go ahead and conclude the formal sessions of the summer of product. I hope you people found it valuable. If you found it, make sure that you are letting us know through the comments, through the Twitter retweets, and also through the LinkedIn posts. I really enjoy talking with all of you people. And I believe that you will be able to leverage this opportunity in order to make PM a leveling field for yourself. Okay. The next step for you is to please participate in the case competition. Anyone who shares all of their notes of the session, of the all the 4 sessions on their LinkedIn and submit it in the form that we are going to send you over email, they are going to get the certificate of the program. We want to make sure that you have actually learned so that we can go ahead and share the certificate with you. Plus, you will get an invitation to a bonus session on AI for product managers. Okay, make sure that you do not miss on the case competition. Okay, that's it from me, guys. Thanks a lot. I really enjoyed these 4 days talking with you people, and I believe you are able to leverage this opportunity and this content and the effort that we have put in your learning in order to take yourself ahead in this career. At any point of time, you have any kind of issues, we have already shared a lot of resources, but you can also reach out to us. Okay, our website is hellopm.co. If any one of you wants to get deeper into product management aspects, always go ahead and try to understand what is the syllabus and the content that we offer at HelloPM. I'm sure you should be able to see it as the most detailed program, plus the most practical program on product management. Look at the curriculum to decide for yourself. Look at the testimonials. Look at the YouTube videos of long testimonials and how people are able to transition and lead into the product management careers. Okay. So, with that being said, bye everyone. We'll see each other very soon in the case study finale part. Thank you guys. Bye. Take care. You have been a great audience. Thank you everyone. Take care.